나 다시 던져도 너 못 이겨. 참 좀 멋있게 좀 지게 해줘라. 혼자 개폼 잡지 말고 다시 던지라고!
Today we're going to be going over one of the better edited scenes in the Netflix hit series Squid Game, specifically episode 6, Ganbu, with the characters Kang Se-byuk and Shi Young playing their game together in this specific episode. I don't want to go into too many spoilers, just kind of look at this particular scene, which is one of the more dark scenes of the show. There's plenty of dark scenes in this show, but this is one of the better ones that took advantage of timing and shot counter shot over the shoulders, stuff like that. A couple of J cuts in here. There's some great coverage. It's a very simple scene, but a very dark scene. And the timing of it is what I want to jump into and really focus on. As usual, the shot and the shot info along the top. To the left is the time code. At the bottom is our running sequence. Yellow is our video layer, and you'll see the cuts involved in this piece. The audio layers are in blue. The top layer is the voice dialogue of Sung Oh-young, who is the actress who played the character of Kang Se-byuk, or more easier to reference as number 67. And the other character is Shi Young, played by Mi, or in this case we'll be referencing her as player 240. What you'll notice too is that we dropped out a lot of the ambiance until the music kicks in. Music doesn't really kick in until about 30 seconds. Everything else is silent. I want to focus on the spoken word. It'll make sense once we start playing it. So let's jump into it. I've split this scene into two basic parts. First part's about 1.5 minutes, and the second part is the other minute. Episode 6, Ganbu from Squid Game. Let's get to it. So a good first basic cut right here at the top. A reverse action shot that motivates the very next shot. So this first shot, of course, she landed her marble in a good spot. And we're going to see and stay here on this low angle shot, out of focus. We haven't broken the axis of action here. We're just jumping to the reverse shot. Again, accentuating those numbers. Numbers of these characters are very important. Every little detail of these scenes in this show are very important. You can watch a ton of videos of just breaking down those meanings. In this video, we're just talking about the edit. We're taking it apart, breaking it apart, understanding how it works so that we can understand what the editors attempted to do in this particular dialogue. Good reverse shot here of a reaction turn, but we're just going to go back to that same shot. There's no need to go to an over-the-shoulder shot from behind or anything like that. We're going to stay on number 240. On this medium shot as she comes back, and now it's her turn. We're going to stay in the framework of the game, keep that shot at a low angle. Let's not muck it up with over the shoulder stuff or medium shots or close-ups or anything like that. Let's keep it simple, and that's where we're at. So she's going to take her place in where 67 was prior. This is more about her reaction than the game. We're seeing her look out at what is out in front of her, but that's not nearly as important as what she's internally struggling with. So we're going to stay in this medium shot. Let's go back. She's going to settle into it. And again, we go to this reverse, which again is accentuating the numbers. The game and the distance doesn't matter, really. It's all about what's in her head. So we might as well stay with her on the close-up here as we start getting closer into her head. We're going to take that coverage that probably exists on the wider shot, or a medium shot even. Remember, we went a couple of medium shots, a couple of reaction shots, stay on the medium, and now we're going to a close-up. I'm going to follow that with a close-up on her face. The internal struggle is what's important here. The timing is what's important. At this point, there is no music, just basic ambiance that we've cut out so we can focus on these edits. The timing here is important. She's settled in. We're going to give it a time to breathe, which is about 2-3 seconds. And we're going to cut to this close-up. All this to push the timing. Really push her struggling with what she's going through. What's going to motivate this next edit is if you follow the eyes. It's on the eyes. We probably didn't have enough, so we put that behind shot, that close-up from behind, to add to these eyes because it's great. We're going to follow her eyes. And it's going to motivate the inserts. There it is. So the eye goes down. That's going to motivate the insert. What's at stake? Again, we haven't really had an action shot, an action edit yet. This is almost like an action edit. We are following the eyes. Eyes motivate this edit. The timing pushes us to give that at least 4 seconds. Who knows how long this shot is? It's probably another few seconds on the cutting room floor. That leads to the dropping of the ball. But a great continuity edit here for it hitting the ground. Now we're going to stay here just for a second. 1, 2, almost 3 seconds. And then we're going to let her eyes tell the story and bring us back. If we go back, we'll notice that the eyes push us down. The shot goes down to the hand. Then we're on the floor. It's a real visual interpretation of where she is. She's pretty much given up. It's hitting the floor. We could have easily shot this on a wide or a moving camera panning down, but it works much, much better as 3 different shots as we hit the ground, because we're going to come back to her eyes and she's going to come back up. And the music kicks in. Good reaction shot there that's motivated by the move up. We'll notice that number 67's eyes come up with that edit, so that definitely helps with the action. It's actually a very nice edit. Coming off the dead stop of the ball. Stand up, get her off screen. Don't cut to any wides, just go right to her reaction. And that helps us finish the standing up. This is going to motivate this entire reactionary shot, because this next dialogue is a single shot, a single 2 shot to not only bring us out of the game, but bring us back to the relationship of these 2 women who, it's been a mixed relationship up to this point. We're not really sure where each of them stand. We just know that their lives are at stake. Number 67 is not sure why 240 has made this decision, but we're going to find out in this 2 shot that helps set up the relationship. It's a stressed relationship, to say the least. And so we're going to depict it here in the 2 shot. The action is great. The dialogue flows real nicely. So we're going to keep it on the 2 shot. I'm sure they have all this on the over the shoulders, but why not keep it on the medium?
너 뭐 하는 거야? 내가 졌네. 너 뭐 하는 짓이냐고. 구슬을 그냥 놓쳤어.
이거냐? 무조건 이기게 해준다는 게? 너 이런다고 내가 고마워할 줄 알지? 다시 던져.
나 다시 던져도 너 못 이겨.
That first edit coming off of this 2 shot.
다시 던져.
나 다시 던져도 너.
An edit that works between dialogue. We have number 67,
이거냐?
player 67, in command of this dialogue at this point, really asking all the questions, pushing forward. So it's a natural edit to go to the reaction shot
다시 던져.
on an over the shoulder to number 240.
다시 던져도 너 못 이겨. 참 좀 멋있게 좀 지게 해줘라. 혼자 개.
A nice little J cut here where the audio just creeps in. I would say maybe 5 frames, 10 frames prior to that edit to help motivate the action of player 240.
지게 해줘라. 혼자 개뽕 잡지.
Right there, there's the J cut.
좀 멋.
It's just a hair, maybe 10 frames where the audio comes in prior to the visual edit.
좀 지게 해줘라. 혼자 개뽕 잡지 말고 다시 던져.
It motivates the action, especially when it gets when she gets loud and more emotional here. This timing is what I particularly wanted to focus on in this scene, because the performances are strong enough. It's almost as if this scene may have been just shot in 2 cameras at one moment. I'm not seeing a lot of overlapping action or finishing words that don't exist that the editor's selected to remove. It looks pretty natural. So starting here, we're starting to really manipulate the time of the responses and the dialogue given to each other, including an off-screen dialogue portion.
난 없어.
뭐?
There's the off-screen line.
난 없어.
뭐?
넌
너는 여기서 나갈 이유가 있지만
And that's where part 1 finishes. Part 1 is all about the ending of the game, all about the stress and emotional reaction to what player 240 has done, player 67's reaction, and really is unclear as to why she made this choice. She did stress over it. We were in on those close-ups, and that's what's most important. But the timing now of the revelations that are going to be made is what's most important from this point to the end of this dialogue. So that's the end of part 1. We're going to go into part 2. Part 2 starts right here, about a minute 15, when player 240 gives her the information as to why she made the choice she did to throw the game and to give up. At this point in the series, we're in episode 6. This has been a true battle of spirit and will for just about everyone. This particular character, number 240, has been one that's been the most aloof, uncaring, and she pretty much tells player 67 why that is. And this is that moment. So that's part 2. From this point to the end, let's take a look at it.
난 없어. 뭐?
Here's the off-screen dialogue.
너는 여기서 나갈 이유가 있지만 난 없어.
This reaction shots are great from player 67. They are all about opening up and letting this breathe. The editors made a choice here, so we're going to go back and see how it works.
너는 여기서 나갈 이유가 있지만 난 없어.
This reaction shot is a good 3, 5, 6 seconds, and then we go back to her on the J cut to help motivate her continually talking. But we're seeing some of the thought process on this over-the-shoulder close-up of player 67. This line motivates it. The I don't motivates the edit. And we got about a 5 to 6 second reaction, and then we're back in on a J cut, letting the audio lead it in. So let's take a look again.
난 없어.
Gives her a good 5 to 6 second reaction.
여기서 나가면 뭐랄까.
And that's the J cut that brings us back to the thought process of player 240.
너가 물어본 다음부터 계속 생각을 해봤거든.
The timing and the pacing here by the actor making the decisions here is actually strong enough to let it sit.
이유가 있는 사람이 나가는 게 맞잖아. 그게 맞잖아.
So again, another motivated reaction shot given up by That's What's Right.
그게 맞잖아.
It's about a 4-second reaction, and then we're back. We're not using the J cut again, but it might possibly be for the happy accident of this falling tear. The continuity with this particular shot to the next one is actually shockingly good. I'm not quite sure if it's digitally added. I can see that happening in this series. The attention to detail is extraordinary, so it could have easily been a continuity edit made by a visual graphic. But if we notice, this tear in this shot is going to fall on that shot. I don't know if that's an accident, don't know if that was added, but either way, it's great. So why not cut with it? Our reaction's about 4 seconds, not as long as the first reaction, but we know where this is going at this point. It's accepting the fact that she's made this decision by player 67. Let's take a look at that edit again to really kind of sit on that reaction and then come back on that falling tear.
그게 맞잖아.
There it is.
너는 꼭 살아서 나가. 그래서 엄마도 만나고.
Again, the timing is superb by this
동생도
actress.
찾고
Player 240.
제주도에도 꼭 가.
She allowed every line there to breathe. And there's a reaction shot here, another one. So this is the third we're seeing at this moment, about 2:09 into the dialogue.
강재병.
And then we're cut to this wide shot. Well, it's not a wide shot. It's more a medium shot of, again, accentuating the detail of the number and knowing who's who. We're understanding that the moment has ended and the decisions have been made and the reactions are being completed. It's a harsh edit, but it works in the sense that it is closing the book on player 240 in the series, in the show, and player 67 has accepted the fact that it's over for her. So we have a great off-screen dialogue by player 240 here as a last hurrah. We're going to let it really breathe out a couple seconds. We're going to go to a reverse shot for the reaction.
강재병!
There's the reaction, motivated by her actually stopping. And a good couple seconds of her back.
강재병!
There's a good 5 seconds there of her settling in, because why turn around? She knows what's coming. She doesn't want that final image to be in her head. So we're going to keep looking away. We're going to listen. Now, it's hard to tell there. It could have been an issue of just general motion, but it looks like she's speaking there. And because it's out of focus, they did use this shot just to open up the time, let it breathe, let the pacing continue that has already been set up for most of this dialogue, specifically the second part. We'll keep that pacing. We'll add this reactionary shot and stay with it just long enough. It's actually just about 3.5 seconds worth, and live with this small motion here in the background that may or may not be her talking. But it's fine. It's fine because if you're really trying to match the pacing that you've had thus far, it does work to do these dramatic cuts from her back to her stopping to her face to the background out of focus and then to close-ups.
고마워.
It's a great close-up.
나랑 같이 해줘서.
And of course, the action finishes off in this far shot. We don't need to be that close for the result. We know what's coming. This is, like I said, episode 6. There's no surprises as to how people are being murdered on this show, but it works to finish it off back. It makes more sense to finish off that dialogue the way it is finished, start the action on this shot, and then finish it on player 67's reaction, which is that little flinch. And then stay on this. There's no reason to go to anything else. Stay on this because it's all about the internal struggle anyway. Let's go back and see how that works. Again, from the Stark edit, numbers,
강재병!
off-screen dialogue, medium shot, close-up, out of focus,
고마워.
close-up for impact, and then we're going to finish off the action and the final shot. And let this internal struggle continue forward to the very end. One of the darker, more emotional scenes of the entire series. It's well worth a watch. This one in particular really played with time, really played with emotion and pacing. Hope you liked this walkthrough of Squid Game, episode 6, Ganbu, the scene between player 240 and player 67. Catch you guys next time.